You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Talkin Ducks is presented by Pacific Clear Vision Institute and Les Schwab Tire Centers. Welcome into another edition of Talkin Ducks. As always, a lot more news this offseason than in typical years. Travis Dye entering the transfer portal, what it means for Oregon possibly losing their top offensive player from last year. We'll have more on that. Also, Dan Lanning, his first true week as the head coach at the University of Oregon recruiting. Matt Prehm from 24/7 Sports will join us to let us know how he evaluated Lanning in his first week. And then men's and women's basketball. A couple of huge victories, especially the men on the road knocking down 2 top 10 teams. We'll let you know what that means as far as their tournament hopes. But first, let's get to our opening drive, brought to you by Les Schwab Tire Centers, where they've been doing the right thing since 1952. And we are joined by Joey Harrington, Anthony Newman, and from the Oregonian, Aaron Fentress. And Aaron, let's start with you. Travis Dye enters his name into the transfer portal, shocks a lot of people. He has flirted with the idea of coming back to Oregon, possibly looking at the NFL. What do you make about Dye coming out here and now putting his name in the portal?
I was pretty surprised. I thought it was going to either be NFL or he comes back. For me personally, he needs to go to the NFL. He's already put in 4 years on the field, high production. Coming back, I don't think it's really going to improve his stock. I've already talked to an NFL scout about it. He says Dye is what he is. He has his niche. He's going to be a small, back out who can catch passes out of the backfield, be used in certain situations, not an every down back. That's not going to change if he comes back and plays next year. But my hunch is that his NFL grade wasn't very high, and so he figures, well, if I'm not going to have a guaranteed shot of making a roster, I might as well come back and get some of that NIL money. But the question is, at Oregon, where is his value? CJ Verdell hasn't decided what he's going to do. You have a load of really good young running backs who've been waiting their turn. And the problem with the COVID year, the 2020 year, and giving everyone an extra year is that now you have a logjam, because the natural cycle should be that Dye and Verdell are gone and the new guys step up. That's how it should be. So he's in the portal now looking for opportunities. Now, I've heard from pretty good sources, this is not a lock, of course, because it hasn't happened yet, but he's talking to some powerhouses, including USC, who has running back issues. If he were to leave Oregon to go to USC, that would be a devastating blow, I think. But Oregon has a lot of good running backs on the roster.
So this is what I'm trying to figure out. And I think maybe you've answered the question, and really the only person who can answer the question truly is Travis Dye. But the only reason in my mind that you would enter the transfer portal is if you think that your role at Oregon is going away, right? That you don't have a job anymore, and that your opportunity would be better somewhere else. I don't know. I understand the idea of a logjam, but what Travis Dye did this year in terms of being a support back for the start of the year and then emerging into the feature back role, I see no reason why that role would go away, right? I'm not sure what else he's going to get somewhere else. I agree with you, Aaron. You either need to go to the NFL or you need to stay here. I don't think you should stay here. I think you should go to the NFL for the reasons you stated. But I'm not sure how. I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing something, but I would have to assume that his role at Oregon, where he has proven how valuable he is going to be just as big, if not better, than somewhere else. Am I missing something here?
Well, I'm a little lost on that, as far as trying to transfer. I understand going into the NFL, but then I understand the log jam in the NFL. A lot of agents are telling kids, if you have another year to play that year in college football, because there's a whole lot of guys trying to play in the NFL right now, and you may get lost in the shuffle. But whatever the young man does, I support him and I respect him. He was a great guy to watch in the running back position. He just brought a lot of joy to our hearts and how he played the game. So much respect for him. I would love to see him back in that green and yellow, but I also would love to see him in the NFL. And if he goes to another college team, I'm going to respect him as a person and support him, not his team, but support him.
Here's the other problem, though. If Verdell comes back, which is really going to create a problem, you got Dollars, you got Seven, you got Cardwell, Trey Benson already left. You got 4 backs with Dye, 5 with Verdell, who are in a position to play. If I'm a younger back, and I've already been sitting and waiting, and now those 2 are coming back for a 5th season, it would be Verdell's 6th on campus, I might be a little frustrated and be thinking, well, I'm not sitting again. And if you're the new coaching staff, you're going to be trying to play the best players, and Cardwell is legit, and he gives you size. So I don't see Verdell or Dye having the same roles they had in the past. I think at the very least, they're going to get chopped into by these younger backs, and probably rightfully so, because these two guys should be gone. I mean, think about it. When LaMichael left after 3 productive years of 5,000 yards, that gave Barner a chance to play. If we had the transfer portal and Barner's last year was going to be behind LaMichael again, Barner might have looked for a place to go where he could rush for 1,800 yards and help himself go to the NFL. So at some point, these veteran guys, they just have to make a decision. And I think Dye is looking for a place where he knows he can get 250 carries, because right now I don't think that's a guarantee at Oregon.
I think you make a good point there. I mean, if I'm looking at the two of them, I understand. Like, I would not be surprised if C.J. Verdell came back, or I should say, if he comes back, if Cardwell didn't take his reps, right? I see that more in a situation like you mentioned there, Aaron. I still think that Dye in that situation has a role. Right, and maybe the issue is that he doesn't like that role, that he wants to be the feature back and doesn't know that he's going to have that opportunity at Oregon. And if that's truly what he feels, then like you said, Anthony, what a wonderful guy, how much we value and appreciate all that he's done, and we'll root for him. But if he goes to USC, we ain't rooting for USC.
All right, time to put things into focus. Brought to you by Pacific Clear Vision Institute, the official eye doctors and eye surgeons of the Oregon Ducks. And the good news here, Anthony, because I know you are the eternal optimist on the panel, Sean Dollars withdraws his name from the transfer portal, so he's back in a Duck uniform. And if you look at the depth at this running back position, if Dye does leave, you have C.J. Verdell. It's to be determined. Obviously, he hasn't played since he got hurt against Stanford. But now you have Byron Cardwell, you've got Sean Dollars, you've got Seven McGee. 4 talented backs with a lot of different skills and ways that they can play. What do you make about the running back position now if Dye is gone?
Well, if you're the coaching staff of Oregon, you're going like, hey, I'm so happy. I have some young studs in the backfield. I have some different types of running backs in the backfield. Byron's a guy that's a big boy. You get down in the red zone, he's gonna punch it in. And you have Seven McGee and Sean Dollars on the outside that could be receivers also as running backs with a lot of speed, and they're young. And so a lot of new coaches like that. They want to coach a young guy because it's kind of like, I get to teach this guy my stuff and not have to reteach him some stuff that he's learned for the last 3 years with another coach. So I know these coaches for Oregon are excited about these young running backs, and we're excited about these young running backs.
I'm going to say this flat out, man. Whether CJ or Dye come back, the most talented back on the roster is Cardwell. He's got size, he's big, 6 foot, over 200 pounds, and his feet are beautiful. Like when you watch him shift his feet, it's amazing to watch. Reminds me of Jeremiah Johnson, reminds me of Stewart. That combination of some size with really good feet, he's gonna make people miss, and he has some nice speed. He's the best back on the team, as far as I'm concerned, and there's no way they're not gonna play him a lot. So I think the running back position is in very good shape. And when has it ever not been? Like, Oregon just cycles through running backs like they're nothing through the Campbell era and now through this era. And by the way, Verdell was a Campbell guy, so they'll be fine at the position.
All right, we're just getting started here on this edition of Talkin' Ducks. When we come back, we'll hear from the head man himself, Dan Lanning, addressing the media, fresh off from winning a national championship. Plenty more when we return.
With 9 locations in the Pacific Northwest, Parr's Cabinet Design Center features everything from outdoor cabinets and countertops to sinks and hardware. Thousands of door styles and colors available to order, as well as kitchen and bath cabinets in stock. All available at the Parr Cabinet Design Center.
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we had gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Thanks, kiddo.
Give everyone peace of mind on the road. Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Being able to get LASIK gave me the opportunity to not worry about putting contacts in every day, and just kind of made my life a little easier. Pacific Clear Vision Institute was just incredible through my entire experience. The staff was very welcoming. Dr. Embody, he really just kind of laid it out and made me feel comfortable and gave me confidence to know that I was in good hands. I would definitely recommend Pacific Clear Vision Institute for any sort of laser eye surgery.
Welcome to your Capital Toyota.
From the moment you walk through the doors, we're here for you.
Buy, sell, trade.
We got you covered.
It's everything you need in one place.
Great service? Check.
Easy to work with?
Check.
We want you to be happy, and it shows in everything we do.
Because we respect your time.
It's all the quality and convenience in one package.
New or Toyota certified pre-owned.
Our people are your people.
Capital Toyota. It's your way on the Parkway.
Since 1961, Comfort Flow Heating has provided service to more than 50,000 homes and businesses in the Willamette Valley. While the technology and techniques in our industry have changed, our founding principles have remained the same: to provide exceptional service in all areas of our business and for our customers to enjoy their products from us and be comfortable for years to come.
From all of us at Comfort Flow, thank you for choosing us.
Go Ducks!
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back to Talkin' Ducks. Let's get to the hot topic brought to you by Comfort Flow Heating, the HVAC industry leader in Western Oregon since 1961. Here's Dan Lanning and his quick transition after winning the national championship with Georgia.
Walking off the field in the tunnel, right after winning the national championship, I was on a FaceTime with a guy that can enhance our program and make us better. So yeah, absolutely. Like that moment, I was a Duck. You know, you enjoy it. You get to coach your entire career and don't always get an opportunity to win a championship. But I've been fortunate enough to watch other people do that and juggle that in my time. I got to watch Coach Smart do that firsthand in his time going from Alabama to Georgia. And luckily enough, had somebody I can lean on during that process. But it's full steam ahead, Oregon, everything Oregon. And it was the minute I left that field and got the hug on the necks of the players that I love there. Gave me an opportunity to move forward. And I'll say this, ultimately, a lot of the players that I got to visit with here at Oregon were appreciative of the commitment that I was able to make to the guys that we had there. It meant so much to me to be able to finish that season a certain way. And I think they were grateful and recognized, okay, wow, you know, Coach Lanning says what he's about. But ultimately, I think I've said before, actions are so much louder than words. Getting to go back there and finish that the right way, I think spoke volumes to what I hope we can do here at Oregon and recreate.
All right, so Joey, Dan Lanning going from Waffle House to Pancake House as he officially transitions from Georgia to Oregon. Matt Prehm will join us later and tell us more about that specific recruit Lanning was talking to as he was walking off the field. But this national championship for Georgia that Lanning has won, what does that mean for Oregon? Does that benefit Oregon when it comes to recruiting? And bigger picture, this transition now for Lanning, what do you make about how soon this has to be for him?
Well, I love two things that he said in that clip right there. And it just really solidifies, I think, everything that we're learning about him and why we've all taken to him so quickly. One was the moment I walked up that tunnel and the moment I got on that call, I was a Duck. Right? That's what you want. You want somebody who is so committed and so excited about this job, about this program, about becoming part of the University of Oregon football program, that he is literally walking off the field after a national championship and he's on a call with somebody thinking about us. Right? That's the first thing. And the second thing was what he said about the players respecting his commitment to the University of Georgia, right? How much he earned the respect of the players for sticking it out and finishing the job that he started there before moving on, right? That says something about him as a person, you know, the foundation of his character. And it also says something about the excitement, you know, being on that call, walking up the tunnel, the excitement that he has to join this program. So, look, I can't think of one thing that, I should say everything that I've heard from Dan Lanning and everything that I've seen him do, I'm so excited. And this is, you know, from the perspective of somebody on the outside, I can't imagine how these players feel. I think everything that he's doing is launching this program full speed ahead, and we're all thrilled to see what he's going to do with it.
You know, I don't think people understand how tough this was for Dan Lanning to do this, meaning to stay at his school and finish the job and then still be a head coach at another school. And you have to move your family to Eugene, find a house for your family, You got to deal with getting a new staff. You got to deal with just getting in your new office, and yet you're still coaching your defense, trying to win a national championship. That is so hard, and the commitment, and he's loyal, and that's what I like about that. And you said that, Joey. He finished the job, and a lot of coaches around this country, they don't finish the job. They just take off and leave everybody behind. Hey, this is a great start.
Definitely an interesting month for the man, no question about that. I don't know if Georgia would have let him take off. I think they would have kidnapped him or something and said, yo, you can't. We're playing in the national championship game. We're not playing in the Sun Bowl. You have to stay here. But the idea of juggling all that, like you're game planning for Alabama, right? You're not game planning for a bunch of chumps. Not only that, the playoff game as well. And then you're trying to build this thing that's 3,000 miles, actually 3,100 miles away. That is definitely a lot of juggling on his part. He clearly did a great job. The defense looked great during the playoffs. I think Ducks fans should definitely be excited. And we'll see how things go moving forward. But I think if you're a Duck fan, you've learned in the last month, there's definitely life after Mario Cristobal. So good for Oregon.
So Aaron, as a journalist, you really couldn't script a better opening game for Oregon next year. It's, of course, Oregon in Atlanta taking on Georgia, who will be the defending national champions. Is this a fun storyline, or is this a scary storyline for the Ducks, considering what we just saw Georgia do to Alabama in the national championship game?
I don't know how Duck fans feel, but for me, it's amazing. Are you kidding me? Who wrote this script? It would have been rejected in Hollywood. Like, yeah, right. Like, that's going to happen. No, but it's happening. They're going to go play Georgia in Atlanta. It's going to be a huge event, I think, for Duck fans, because this is one of those situations where you're going to be a big-time dog, right? Just like at Ohio State. And you won that game. So there's definitely hope, but Georgia is a powerhouse, and you're taking their former defensive coordinator with you. Maybe he's going to have some inside tips that'll help give Oregon a little bit of an edge. I still think Georgia wins that game, but it's going to be a fascinating storyline starting now. Like, I think people should just start talking about this and writing about this right now because it's the first game in September.
I'll keep it short. It's going to be a big challenge for the Ducks. I'm telling you that right now. There are some dudes on that Georgia football team.
Dudes, not guy. So we've established they have dude, forced D-U-D-E as opposed to G-U-Y. Okay,
right. There's guys and there's dudes.
There's guys and there's dudes. And that's the difference between 3 stars and 4 stars. Look, yes, are they going to be underdogs? Sure. Is this a neutral game? No, it's not a neutral site game like everybody says. This is a road game. It's in Atlanta. It's in their backyard. But that being said, it's not like Georgia's returning the exact team that won a national championship. They've had a few transfers already. They've had plenty of guys leave for the draft. You know, I'm excited. I'm feeling pretty good about the chances. The one thing, and I'm sure we'll talk about this ad nauseum, is that I'm going to have a question mark about is who's going to be under center or behind center for Oregon. That's the thing that's going to have. I'm going to have a lot of questions about. Offensive line, great. Running backs, great. Wide receivers, great. You know, Oregon has a lot of talent waiting in the wings, and a coach, like you guys just said, that has a little bit of inside knowledge as to how this Georgia team operates. I'm excited about this opportunity so long as this quarterback situation gets itself worked out.
And that's where Nix is so huge, because at least he's played in that conference. At least he's been there, done that. Now, he and Auburn lost to Georgia 34-10, but at least he won't be engulfed in the moment because he played 3 years as a starter in the SEC.
When we come back, the women of Oregon, a buzzer beater thriller, a win over Arizona. We'll break that down when we come back.
Do you have a stay-at-home project? We can help. Contact Parr from the comfort of your home. Get a free quote online or call a pro to order your materials. And the best part? We deliver. Call us or visit Parr.com for details. Parr, your project experts for 90 years.
Eugene Airport is a proud part of what makes Western Oregon such a unique place to be. With nonstop routes that connect to hundreds of destinations, fly local, fly EUG.
In the heart of the South Willamette Valley, just 12 miles southwest of Eugene, distinctive handcrafted wines are waiting for you at Sylvan Ridge Winery. Sylvan Ridge Wines bring unassuming, casual elegance to your homes, tables, and celebrations, and are best paired with the mainstays of a social gathering: good food, fond friends, and lively conversation. Discover our wines by visiting our tasting room. For a list of events or to plan your visit, go to sylvanridge.com. Proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we had gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Thanks, kiddo.
Give everyone peace of mind on the road. Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Sometimes leadership is scary. But so is regret.
You're watching Talkin Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. It's time for our Thing of Beauty, brought to you by Dr. Lee B. Daniel and Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. Live beautiful. How about this thrilling finish to Oregon versus Arizona?
Here's Prince. Rogers. Parrish for the win. Through most of the game. Rogers with the game winner.
It's time for some excellence off the football field, presented by Ferguson Wellman. Ferguson Wellman, taking a disciplined approach to investing. So the Oregon women beat number 7 Arizona in overtime at Matthew Knight Arena, and then the Oregon men, the first team since 1976 to go on the road and beat back-to-back top 10 AP teams as they sweep the LA schools, wins over UCLA and USC. And now it seems like both programs have responded. And starting with the women, we had a conversation with Kelly Graves earlier in the season, and he just mentioned if we can just get healthy, we can get this thing going. And similar to what we saw with the Oregon men, a close loss to Baylor seemed to be more than a moral victory. It was enough to kind of get this team going. We saw that with the Oregon women, a close loss on the road to number 2 Stanford. But ever since then, something is just different about this Oregon women's basketball team. And now that the talent is finally getting healthy, you see what they can do. Now, obviously, as we record this, they're matching up against UConn at Matthew Knight. What a treat of a game that is. But this seems like the turning point for the Oregon women. For the men, it feels like they've already turned that corner, because ever since they lost to Baylor, the offense has been clicking. That was the biggest issue back in November when they couldn't even score 20 points a half against some teams that were just frankly embarrassing losses. But now this 3-guard lineup has been really dynamic. Eric Williams has finally emerged once again as one of the leading scorers for this team. And then I think the physicality that you're seeing from Kepnong and Dante down low have been a wonderful complement to these guards. And oh, by the way, Will Richardson has been balling out lately. 2 career highs over the last couple of games for him. So for the Oregon men, what seemed like a very dark season not too long ago in November, they've got a chance to make some noise. They moved up huge when it came to the net rankings. They're now one of the top 60 teams. But Aaron, my question to you is this. Looking at what Dana Altman and this Oregon men's team have done over the last week and a half, do you have them as one of the potential favorites to now win the conference?
You know, every year when we talk about this, we talk about what Oregon's going to look like in the second half of the season. And virtually every year, they're a completely different team. And so it almost becomes like, are we beating this like to death? No, because this is what they do. The fact that they just swept both Los Angeles schools who were ranked in the top 5 after the start they got off to, not only in the Pac-12 conference, but even during the non-conference, is absolutely 100% typical Dana Altman. So yes, absolutely they have to be one of the favorites. Now, Arizona is really, really good. I'm not going to say the Ducks are going to beat them, but Based on their current trajectory and what they're doing and the fact that they're improving and starting to get things rolling on both sides of the ball, Dana has this team in its clutches. He has them believing, he has them fired up, and there's no telling where they could go because we all know they have an abundance of talent. So am I going to say they're the favorite? No, but absolutely you have to be considered one of the favorites when you just beat 2 top 5 teams on their home floor.
Coming up next, we'll hear from Dan Lanning once again and get his thoughts on the staff that he's bringing together here at Oregon and what he feels like this team can truly do in Eugene.
Parr Lumber is committed to providing the best customer service. We provide personal service. We're problem solvers. We're positive and courteous. We're competent and professional. We are committed to delivering exceptional service every time. We're appreciative and we care. We are Parr Lumber.
Being able to get LASIK gave me the opportunity to not worry about putting contacts in every day and just kind of made my life a little easier. Pacific Clear Vision Institute was just incredible through my entire experience. The staff was very welcoming. Dr. Embody, he really just kind of laid it out and made me feel comfortable and gave me confidence to know that I was in good hands. I would definitely recommend Pacific Clear Vision Institute for any sort of laser eye surgery.
Welcome to your Capital Toyota.
From the moment you walk through the doors, we're here for you.
Buy, sell, trade.
We got you covered.
It's everything you need in one place.
Great service? Check.
Easy to work with?
Check.
We want you to be happy, and it shows in everything we do.
Because we respect your time.
It's all the quality and convenience in one package.
New or Toyota certified pre-owned.
Our people are your people.
Capital Toyota. It's your way on the Parkway.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Let's hit Victory Road, presented by Capital Toyota in Salem. Your way on the Parkway. Here is Dan Lanning on the staff that he has compiled now in Eugene.
Yeah, ultimately, I think I said here before, we were looking for two things, relationships and development, and didn't want to sacrifice on either end there. I think that's really, really important as we were piecing the staff together. Fortunately here at Oregon, we have the ability to be competitive and we have the ability to go get the best of the absolute best. So whether the best be in the NFL or the best be in other college programs, that's what we targeted. And we went through, a hard search, looked really in depth at a lot of different positions. And I'm ecstatic about the group that we have put together. Some of these guys have NFL experience. Obviously, that's a big piece. Some of these guys have been at the highest level of college, and some of them haven't, but just happen to be some of the best coaches I've ever been around or seen firsthand. So, what exists in front of us here is opportunity. We got an opportunity here for this staff to be really, really, really special. And I know we got great men of character, great coaches and teachers. They're going to be around our players. And I couldn't be more thrilled about the group we put together.
Well, Anthony, you take a look now at all these different faces that seem like they're coming from all corners of the country. And how do you feel about this staff that Lanning has put together? Because you have to commend, number one, the talent of the staff that he's brought together, and then number two, how quickly he's been able to do it.
Well, I think, when you have a staff on your team, there's a couple things that they're looking for. And I think Dan Lanning said this. Can they develop players and can they build relationships? And to me, it's all about recruiting. It really is, because I think, and Dan Lanning said this, and I think he got it from Kirby Smart, who got it from Nick Saban. He said it's much easier to coach good dudes. It's much easier to coach guys who can play. Well, that starts with recruiting. You have to go across the nation and find those good football players. Players play, coaches coach. It's easy to coach these kids if they're explosive, quick, fast, they can throw the ball on a dime, they can do all those good things. It's a challenge when you don't have those type of players. So if you can go recruit those players, which these coaches are the best recruiters in the nation. We got guys who can recruit on the West Coast, back down south, back east. That's what he was looking for. And then can you develop these other players to become great players? I think he's done a great job.
I've always kind of been like, okay, yeah, they have a coaching staff. I assume they're all good coaches. They're coaching major college football. I'm not going to sit here and say who's better than this and better. All I know is that whoever the Ducks hired, Duck fans love them, and then they leave and they hate them. So I assume this is a good staff. On paper, they've got a lot of good recruiters. They got guys who've produced really good talent at their positions. They've got guys from all over the place. So we'll just see what happens. But like Newman said, it's about getting the guys, or dudes actually, not guys. We just established that, dudes and dogs, not guys. But it's not even just the star ranking. Sometimes those star rankings are deceiving. You have to look beneath that, because sometimes a 3-star guy is actually going to be way better. And you can see it in high school if you're really scouting and learning that guy as opposed to the flashy 4-star guy. So we'll see if the staff can do some really good identification of talent underneath the radar. Last thing though, they're going to be going out on a recruiting trail with a head coach who's going to be flashing that bling, who's going to have that big rock on his finger. Well, they probably won't have the ring yet, but he can sit there and say, I just won a national title at Georgia as a DC. That is going to be huge in those living rooms, because the question has always been, can Oregon get that done? Now you have a coach who has gotten that done. However, Mario got it done with Bama too as a run game coordinator, and he also won too as a player. So we'll see, but definitely that's going to help them on the recruiting trail. Well,
and you know what else is going to help in recruiting is being able to go into that living room and say, yes, I've won a national championship. And also, I've put together a staff that has all of this experience, that has college experience, successful college experience, but also has, like Dan Lanning said, guys from the NFL, right? Because we talk about transferring and we talk about 4 stars, and you listen to Kayvon talk this last couple, I think it was about a week ago. He said, I always knew I was going to be there for 3 years, right? Be wherever I was for 3 years before I moved on. The idea of preparing for the NFL is real for a lot of these guys, and is real for a lot of the guys that we're trying to recruit now, correct? Right? As opposed to going into the living room of a 2-star, 3-star guy and saying, I'm going to take care of your kids. Now we're going into the living room of a 4-star, 5-star guy and saying, here's how I can help you develop for the NFL. Those are different recruiting styles. And the fact that Dan has put together a coaching staff with college success and NFL experience, I think is going to be a huge thing for this coaching staff going forward, and their ability to recruit those dudes that you guys are talking about.
All right, when we come back, we'll fly around the Pac-12. A lot of action happening down south in the conference. We'll let you know some major changes, including the Wildcats of Arizona getting a big-time transfer at the quarterback position.
Since 1961, Comfort Flow Heating has provided service to more than 50,000 homes and businesses in the Willamette Valley. While the technology and techniques in our industry have changed, our founding principles have remained the same: to provide exceptional service in all areas of our business, and for our customers to enjoy their products from us and be comfortable for years to come.
From all of us at Comfort Flow, thank you for choosing us.
Go Ducks!
Eugene Airport is a proud part of what makes Western Oregon such a unique place to be. With nonstop routes that connect to hundreds of destinations, fly local, fly EUG.
In the heart of the South Willamette Valley, just 12 miles southwest of Eugene, distinctive handcrafted wines are waiting for you at Sylvan Ridge Winery. Sylvan Ridge Wines bring unassuming, casual elegance to your homes, tables, and celebrations, and are best paired with the mainstays of a social gathering: good food, fond friends, and lively conversation. Discover our wines by visiting our tasting room. For a list of events or to plan your visit, go to sylvanridge.com. Proud partners of the Oregon Ducks.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Let's fly around the Pac-12 courtesy of Eugene Airport. Fly easy, fly EUG. Will Joey hang in there with me? I got a lot of news coming your way. Let's start with Utah tailback Tavion Thomas, who rushed for 5 touchdowns in 2 games versus Oregon, announced his return for next season. And then Pac-12 Offensive Freshman of the Year quarterback Jaden DeLora announcing his transfer from Washington State to Arizona. And then UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson and tailback Zach Charbonneau announced their return, and Chip Kelly agreed to a 4-year contract extension. And then Mario Williams, one of the nation's best young receivers, announces that he's transferring from Oklahoma to, drumroll please, USC. That's right, he's following Lincoln Riley to the Trojans. I imagine there'll be another transfer coming. Cough Caleb Williams, cough Caleb Williams. So there's all your news and all your transfers. A lot of movement in the South, but it leads to this. And here's the bigger question here, Joey. Final AP poll came out. Utah number 12, Oregon 22. Only 2 teams in the top 25 in the Pac-12. Looking at this news, do you get the sense that Utah is still the clear runaway favorite for next year? Or do you think Oregon, USC, maybe someone else threatens the Utes next season?
I don't think they're a runaway favorite, no. But I do think they have to be the favorite because they've proven it, right? I mean, there's excitement around USC, there's excitement around Oregon, there's excitement around UCLA, but none of them has proven. SC hasn't done it, UCLA hasn't done it, Oregon tried twice and got beat by Utah twice. So I think they have to be the favorite, although I do think that the conference itself has a little bit of excitement around it. But until they actually go out and show something other than what they've shown over the last 5 years against the rest of the country, I mean, that's all it's going to be, is just kind of talk and excitement. I mean, there's a lot of work for this conference to do. And, it's interesting because the fact that you have to ask a question, is a number 12 Utah team, and I won't say that, uninspiring or unexciting, but they were just a good, solid football team. And they may be the runaway favorite right now. What does that say about the rest of the conference and all the work that we have left to do? I don't know. I'm not a big believer in the Pac-12 right now. It's been a long stretch, and I'm curious to see, and I'm not sure how we dig ourselves out of this hole. It's a tough spot.
One thing that's fascinating is that while Oregon and USC have all this flash and pizzazz, Utah just sits up there in the mountains and just grinds and just works. And that's why they bludgeoned Oregon on both sides of the ball in the line of scrimmage in those 2 games. As good as Oregon's offensive line might have been against other teams, they fell to pieces against Utah and vice versa in terms of flipping that around. So USC and Oregon have to get back to substance. USC recruits all these flashy recruits, but man, I swear over the last 6 or 7 years, how many of them pan out into becoming really good football players, especially in the front seven or on the offensive line? Not very many, and there's no excuse for USC to have bad offensive lines. Average to good, fine, that's going to happen, but bad? So Lincoln Riley, even if he gets Caleb Williams and he got this receiver, he's going to get some other guys, he's got to fix the interior on both sides of those lines, or Utah is just going to bludgeon them again. And it's the same thing for Oregon. Oregon has to reshape what it does, because what Utah did, it's one thing to have someone just throw the ball all over the place and beat you, right? It's another thing to have someone just pound you and you can't do anything about it and then shut down your running game. So until Oregon shows they can fix those two aspects of their offense and defense, then yeah, Utah's the favorite, but not the clear favorite.
Well, I'm not a fan of the preseason rankings anyway. I mean, they mean nothing. I mean, what does it mean? Utah is at the top. You got to knock them off the mountain. But we just talked about this earlier, all these players that are transferring. The teams are not even set yet. So how do you know? I mean, Washington State just lost their starting quarterback. So how do you know how to rank a team when the teams are not even set? I'm baffled.
We don't got to know. We're just talking. It's talking ducks. Sometimes it means it's talking way too soon nonsense, but we're just going to say it anyway.
All right, just around the corner, Matt Prehm of 24/7 Sports will join us. We'll evaluate the first week of recruiting underneath Dan Lanning and whether or not this turnaround that Dana Altman is orchestrating is his best ever. More to come. You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Time now for our recruiting report, brought to you by Milan Stoneworks, bringing you the finest stoneworks in the Northwest. We're now joined by Matt Prehm of 24/7 Sports and Duck Territory. And Matt, for Dan Lanning, quite the week. He won a national title with Georgia. You're strutting into a brand new gig and excellent contract with the Ducks as the head coach. And I imagine when it's your first full week as head coach, that helps out a lot when you're coming in claiming that your defense helped secure a national title. What did we learn? What did we see from Dan Lanning's first week as head coach on the recruiting trail for the Ducks?
Boy, he accomplished quite a bit in just a few days. The recruiting dead period was lifted 12:01 a.m. Eastern time, Friday morning. So that would be, and then transcendently all the way back across the country. And so when it hit 12:01 on the West Coast, Dan Lanning was in the home of Jaleel Florence, or not Dan Lanning, excuse me. His coaches were in the home of Jaleel Florence for an in-home visit. Demetrius Martin, Tosh Lupoy, and then Matt Powledge. 3 defensive coaches, making it a very strong indication that Dan Lanning prioritizes Jaleel Florence as one of his top guys. When the championship game was over, I forgot to even mention this, Dan Lanning was walking up the tunnel to the locker room and was FaceTiming Jaleel Florence. He's the first person he contacted saying, hey, I just won the national championship. I'm coming to Oregon. Come help me do that there. And then on Friday, he toured the Portland area high schools. He made a couple stops. He went to Central Catholic, where Riley Williams, a 4-star tight end, the best player in the state for the 2023 class. He has an Oregon offer. He checked out that school. And then just this weekend, these are the names that he hosted. Christian Miller, a defensive lineman from Georgia who's very high on the Bulldogs, but a top 150 player in the country. He was in Eugene for an official visit. He had 5-star defensive lineman Jaden Wayne from Tacoma of the 2023 class on campus. And then he had 2 4-star quarterbacks in 2023 and 2024 on campus. He had a 3-star USC commit running back in the 2023 class on campus as well. He did all of this in 1 week.
Looking at basketball, Oregon men's basketball putting together the most impressive road trip in all of college basketball since 1976. The first time ever someone's beaten 2 top 10 teams on the road in consecutive games. And Matt, we thought this team back in November, when they were struggling to score 20 points in a half, was done for. And we know Dana Altman can flip the script on seasons and the team plays their best in January, February, March. But this turnaround specifically this year, is this the greatest single season turnaround that Oregon is on pace for from what we've seen from Dana Altman and all the years that he's had this second half magic?
Well, to answer that question, we won't know for a couple weeks, but it could be how they respond. They've got 4 home games in the next 2 weeks. They play Washington State on Thursday, Washington on Sunday. Colorado's a makeup game at home the following Tuesday, and then they've got the Oregon State Beavers coming to town 2 Saturdays from now. If they go 4-0 there and they find themselves in a position where they're 1 or 2 games out of first place, then we can really have a serious conversation about that. But they could put themselves into that conversation, though. I do agree with you. We should note that they did get a little bit of a help here with both LA schools because of COVID and health officials in the LA County area not allowing fans. I think that was a huge advantage for Oregon. Eliminated Poly Pavilion most definitely from being a hostile environment. USC's home field, they don't have a home court advantage. No one goes to those games, so it's not really that big of an issue there. And I don't know if it would have mattered. Oregon played so good in both of those games, crowds or not, but they are completely different. And Will Richardson, Devion Harmon have said it. Eric Williams has said it. Something happened when they went on winter break. They got back, they played Utah, and then they went on their own COVID pause. Something happened with this team, and they've clicked. And as crazy as it sounds, it feels like that pause has found something for this team and inside themselves to play at this level.
All right, Matt. Well, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll see what Dana Altman does with the rest of the season here. But as always, enjoy grilling. Are you doing anything this January? Is it still grilling season, or when does that
Oh my gosh,
start?
you just struck a very sad chord in my body. I currently have a malfunctioning Traeger.
Oh no!
I have tried breaking it down and putting it back together, and I cannot get it to work. I literally have a brisket in my refrigerator that I cannot cook.
Well, we'll see if the Traeger has to hit the transfer portal, my friend. Thanks again, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?
Thanks.
All right, thanks again. You can check out all of Matt's work at Duck Territory, part of 24/7 Sports. Make sure you go subscribe today to get insider access you won't find anywhere else. All right, when we come back, we'll put a toast to this episode and rattle off a few awards after the season as we close the doors on this edition of Talkin' Ducks.
With 9 locations in the Pacific Northwest, Parr's Cabinet Design Center features everything from outdoor cabinets and countertops to sinks and hardware. Thousands of door styles and colors available to order, as well as kitchen and bath cabinets in stock. All available at the Parr Cabinet Design Center.
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we had gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Thanks, kiddo.
Give everyone peace of mind on the road. Swing by or book online. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Welcome to your Capital Toyota.
From the moment you walk through the doors, we're here for you.
Buy, sell, trade.
We got you covered.
It's everything you need in one place.
Great service? Check.
Easy to work with?
Check.
We want you to be happy, and it shows in everything we do.
Because we respect your time.
It's all the quality and convenience in one package.
New or Toyota certified pre-owned.
Our people are your people.
Capital Toyota. It's your way on the Parkway.
Stories tell us that great leaders are anointed at birth, chosen by the hand of fate. But those are just stories.
You're watching Talkin' Ducks, built by Parr Lumber. Welcome back. Let's have a toast brought to you by Sylvan Ridge Winery, proud partners of the Oregon Ducks, and we are at our end of season awards. Here's our first batch. These are our most valuable players on offense and defense. Now, for me on offense, no huge surprise. It's Travis Dye. Carried the torch after C.J. Verdell went down with that injury against Stanford, and I think he exceeded any expectations people had for him as far as his workload and his production. Hopefully he comes back next year as a Ducks. Please, Travis, if you're watching this, we'd love to see you for one more year. Defensive MVP. Not quite the slam dunk. I think a lot of people arguably would give it to Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't blame them. But for me, going with Verone McKinley. I think the way he played against Ohio State and the fact that Oregon won that game because of his heroics, I think set the stage for what Oregon football was for the majority of the season, a team knocking on the door of the playoff. And I think that just changed the entire trajectory of the year. Now, Kayvon had some dominating performances, but for me, it was the consistent play year-round of Verone McKinley. Anthony, your two picks here for offensive and defensive MVP.
Jordan, I have to agree with you on both sides of the ball. For offense, Dye is the man. He is the man. End of story. On defense, it was tough. You got three players. You got Kayvon Thibodeau, Noah Sewell, and you have Verone McKinley III. And I'm a defensive back, so I'm going with the defensive back as the MVP. But, Verone was consistent, like you said. He was there in every game. He didn't miss a game. He was consistent in how he played in every game. He was the quarterback of the defense. And there was games sometimes when you see Kayvon Thibodeau playing, but he didn't really do anything. Yeah, he is the dominant player, but they ran away from him. So he wasn't a factor. McKinley was always a factor in every single game, and he didn't miss any games. He didn't miss any snaps. That's why I picked Verone McKinley III.
All right, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't care. So this is most valuable player, not most outstanding. The most valuable player on offense easily was Anthony Brown, because without Brown, as I've said, they go 6-6 or 7-5 because they didn't really have anything behind him ready to come in and carry the torch. And for all of the whining about Brown, the guy led the conference in total yards. He threw for 19 touchdowns and just, I think, 7 interceptions, which is pretty good. And he rushed for over 600 yards and 9 touchdowns. When he was on, the team was on. You take Dye out of the equation, I don't think it matters because they have other backs. Just like when they lost Verdell, a lot of people are like, oh my God, we lost Verdell. And then you put in Dye and you didn't lose anything. So for me, the most valuable player, Brown. The most outstanding player, Dye. On the other side, defensively, I'm going to do the same thing. Kayvon, by far the most outstanding player. My God, when he played and he wreaked havoc, changed everything for that team. But the most valuable guy was the guy who was there every day, the guy who was there at Ohio State when they beat Ohio State, with Kayvon out. And Verdell is the one who carried that load, by the way, in the run game, not Dye. So most valuable, definitely Verone and definitely Brown.
I don't necessarily disagree with you.
But
here's the thing. Can you make the argument that with Dye out, Byron Cardwell could have done the same thing? Sure, yes. You could make that argument. However, you have tangible evidence that with CJ Verdell out, in a situation where nobody thought he would be able to handle the load, Anthony, Travis Dye actually did it, right? This wasn't could somebody else have done it if this situation happened? This was actually, here's what happened. Here's the guy who stepped in and put the team on his shoulders, even in those situations where, yes, Anthony Brown had some good games where he was on, but they won games when he was off as well, and that was because of Travis Dye. I completely agree with everybody, it seems like. Fentress, I thought you were going to definitely go with Thibodeau, but it's that same argument, like you said. Who was the most talented? Sure. Thibodeau was the most talented. He was the most, I don't want to say most potential, but the day in, day out, game in, game out, anchor, foundation, general, whatever you want to call him, was Verone McKinley. And I think I'm happy to see that everybody on this panel notices that. Right? Because those type of guys are important. Those type of guys are valuable. That's a dude on a different level, right? That's just a guy that you need on your football team. You also need a couple Thibodeaus as well. But Verone McKinley was definitely the most valuable player on this defensive side of the ball.
Well, guys, thanks again for everything. Next week on Talkin' Transfers, or should I say Talkin' Ducks, we'll break down all the transfers that'll be happening across the country here and whether or not Oregon can keep some more ducks in the pond. Also, basketball season heating up. Dana Altman and the men's team in the middle of a huge 4-game homestand. Kelly Graves and the women, they're improving week after week. We'll give you the latest update there. But thank you again for joining us. You can catch us next week. And from all of us here, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.